Welcome, everybody, to the Fantasy Football War Room podcast. I'm your host, James, and with me, I've got Chris,
Pronto.
Frank,
Hey now.
Nick,
How's it going, everybody?
and Sam.
He's only right like 30% of the time. Those are usually pretty obvious. I mean, nobody talks about the times he's wrong, but when he's right, it's like, holy cow, he's a genius.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. I think I know who it is. I'm gonna say Adam Gase.
No.
I knew, but I knew I was wrong because the 30% right was too high for a Gase.
Is it a player?
That would have been 5%.
So that is Jay Gruden commenting on our boy, Mr. Tony Romo.
I gotcha.
So he's saying, when he picks it, everybody's saying he's a genius. He goes, I can get him right 100% of the time. Meanwhile, he gets it 30% of the time, and everybody's like, oh my God, he's so great and making so much money.
That's because everyone loves Tony Romo.
Well, you love Tony Romo. Let's not get, too carried away.
A lot of people like Tony Romo.
Yeah, he's one of the people in the booth. They like him better than a lot of other people, and he makes the game exciting again.
He does a good job. I'm not going to lie. He does do a good job. But there are some critics out there, boys. Let's not forget.
Gentlemen, welcome. Episode 17. You guys are looking nice and spiffy. This will be our second episode going on to YouTube. Now we could see all five of us together. So how you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Nice hair, Frank. You look good, buddy.
Thanks.
You slicked it back just for us, eh?
We're growing it out, COVID going on. I can't go for a shave, a cut. So grow it out.
That's what the hat's for.
Hey, you why do you have a Dallas Cowboy helmet back there with an ugly Lions thing on top of it?
Come on, what? Get out of here, the Dallas Cowboys. You know what that is.
He's not wrong. It looks like it.
Are you the only one that bought one of those helmets?
It's vintage, all right?
That BC Lions?
Yeah.
The best part about it is, Frank, you look back there like it was almost real. Like you actually thought there was a
He's like,
Dallas.
wait
I was
a
like, wait a minute.
No. I get out of here. I can see it on the screen. Now with our beautiful 4K video, this is awesome.
You bought that yesterday just so you could have it on screen, right?
No, this is old school. Had it for a long time. I'm not a bandwagon Lions fan, believe it or not.
I couldn't tell.
Are there any bandwagon Lions fans?
No.
Oh,
Underneath the bandwagon, maybe.
Definitely not.
Wheelbarrow Lions fans, maybe. Like people just kind of jumping in the wheelbarrow.
Well, anyways, gentlemen, I'm glad you guys had a good weekend and whatnot. And let's get into our first segment. So we're going to be talking about our news, rumors, and free agents. So let's start off with the NFL franchise tag period has opened. So a lot of big names will be popping up all over the place right now, and who's going to get tagged and who's not. I made a list of our top 5 here, so I think we should go through them and let me know your thoughts on if they're going to get tagged, if you think they're going to go to a new team, or possibly even be re-signed. At number 1, Dallas Cowboy QB Dak Prescott. For the Cowboys to tag him, it'll cost them $37.7 million, and he's already gone on record to say he wants probably in the 40 to 45 range per year. What do you guys think is going to happen with Dak?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go to your team, Nick. You take the Dak Prescott talk. You got all the stars on your attire.
Just a few. Come on.
So you take the lead on Dak Prescott, brother.
Okay, I'll take the lead. I mean, okay, what I read so far basically is the salary cap is going up in the NFL next year, but even with that increase, the $37.7 million franchise tag is too high. So the Cowboys would have to either restructure a bunch of contracts or cut some players because they don't have enough money in the cap. So seeing him being franchise tagged, although it's probably the most likely thing because I don't see them constructing a big enough deal that he wants, it's going to cost the Cowboys a little much more. So it is a little worrisome. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, I like Dak as a quarterback. I just don't know what they can do with this money situation right now.
Yeah, You hit pretty much all the points there. I just don't know if Dallas is much better without Dak. They're going to have to bring a viable quarterback in to compete. The division's not that good, so now's the time for them to jump on the opportunity to make the playoffs and try to make a run. If by any chance one of those top quarterbacks prospects drop to them at the number 10 pick, they might have a decision to make. Do they go a defense player? They obviously don't need another wide receiver. They don't need much offensive weapons. I don't know what their O-line situations looks like, but I don't think the value is going to be there at 10 over what else is going to be there at the quarterback position. I think where they're picking the defensive players probably the better route, but if they want to move on from Dak, they have a chance to land a Mac Jones or a Trey Lance, then keeping Dalton as the bridge and then producing one of these other younger quarterbacks might be the way to go to save some money. But as of right now, if you're looking at their window and where they're at as a team in a whole, I think the next 3 years is where Dallas really wants to make a push for the Lombardi Trophy. So I think it'd be kind of a mistake if they don't keep Dak on, but it might also be a good thing if they don't keep Dak on. So out of all the players that we're going to list here, I think that situation is the one that I want to pay attention to the most.
Yeah, they're almost damned if they do and damned if they don't. If they
Exactly.
sign Dak to $40 million deal, they're handcuffed and they're not going to be able to sign anybody to build a team around him. And Dak's not the kind of guy that can take a team that's half decent and take him to a championship. If he's got a good team around him, sure, he can win a Super Bowl, no problem. But like they're much better off drafting a guy like a Mac Jones or something like that, and then using that extra cap space to build a monster team around him, and he could probably do it too. So
yeah, I think they kind of made a mistake paying Zeke, to be honest.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I think they tied up too much money in Zeke's contract. And now if they pay Zach, they have way too much money tied up into two players, right? So, and that's a huge problem. Are they going to be better without Dak? I think they have to get really lucky on the draft. They might be able to, get a free agent, even quarterback for less than Dak. But are they going to be better with that person is the question. And like you say, Chris, it's a 2-3 year window max that they have all the pieces in place in order to kind of try to make a push for it. And Dak is a key piece of that, right? So without Dak, I think they're going to be worse off. That's my opinion.
The good news is that division's horrible. So if they do bring in a rookie quarterback now, they might still be able to win the division with the other pieces. And if they add a few extra.
Yeah, but winning the division means nothing because you're going to win the division, then you're out the next game. So is that really what you want to do?
It's still step one.
Yeah, punches your ticket. You got to take it to the dance, right? Like Tampa Bay was 6 when the Giants won their Super Bowls. They weren't division with leaders. They were wild card teams, I think. So they just need a chance, right? Chip in a chair.
No, I get it. And everybody's got a shot once you get, like you say, the ticket to the dance, but it's the pieces around you that take you all the way, right? Like, I mean, Tampa Bay was 6, but they were stacked on both sides of the ball, right? Like, so I don't know, man. I don't know if Dallas got what it takes, even if they win the division.
But see, they're not stacked on both sides of the ball. They're stacked.
That's the problem.
They're stacked on the offensive side. So can you bring in a quarterback that can play with those offensive weapons at a cheaper rate and then take your money and go spend it on defensive players, or put your money on the quarterback and then not be able to get those defensive players that you need to make the defensive side better? Like you've been saying since day one, defense wins championships.
Absolutely.
They're stacked the other way.
Yep. No, I get it. But you still need a quarterback.
Offense wins games, defense wins championships, right? You still need the offense to win the game.
And they have the key pieces that you could put another quarterback in there, maybe a cheaper quarterback. What about I don't know, Fitzpatrick? What about someone else that can sling the ball to those other guys, and maybe you can still make something happen. You guys, I've been on record. I'm not the biggest Dak fan. I like the guy. He's a good player. I like watching him set these records. I thought he was going to set a bunch of them before he got hurt, but I've never seen him as the guy that's going to win a championship. That's the problem.
I mean, listen, if you get even somebody like a little bit experienced, like a Cam Newton or even a Mariota or somebody like that, throw them in there. They got experience. You never know. Like, I mean, it could work out in their favor, but I mean, we'll see. I think it's just a lot of money to tie up into two players, and I think that Zeke deal put them over the top, and they have to be careful now.
Yeah, I
We'll
think
see
that's
how
enough Dallas talk for the year, boys.
Yeah, well, way more than I ever wanted to talk about Dallas.
Don't disrespect the star.
Wait, wasn't the show about the Cowboys? I thought that's what we're talking about this week.
And
Oh,
we're done.
That's it. We can end the
sorry.
show. That's all we got.
That's all I got. I
Till
don't
next
have anything
time.
else.
Good night.
All right, number 2 on this list, wide receiver from the Chicago Bears, Allen Robinson. There's talks that it's a potential tag and trade. The tag would be 16 million for wide receivers. He hasn't had any open discussion with the Bears in apparently months. They are not talking about an extension. They're not talking at all, apparently, and it's not looking good. He's not happy. He's also afraid he's going to get tagged, and he doesn't want to play there. And he said, and if he does get tagged, there's a chance he's not staying afterwards. So they probably will have to trade him or let him go. What do you guys see the Bears doing?
I mean, tag and trade is interesting because if they tag him and then they trade him, that's a big piece to trade, right? So what can they attract with that? Like, I know they're having QB problems. So could it be a QB that they're after? And this is kind of a way to get it done because they don't have the pieces or the draft picks to get it done. And maybe this is something that they want to do to say, you know what, we'll tag him. We'll take the 16 million hit and then trade him to see if we can get somebody to fill Trubisky's spot. Could be interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it. I don't personally see him back with Chicago unless they want to have him through one more year of, I guess, hell, you could say it, because I don't think that any side is happy at all on both parts. So, I mean, I think they'd love to have him there, and that's the thing. But I think it was last week, we were talking, who was the last real wide receiver the Bears put money into?
Yeah.
No,
right?
We could
Chris,
think of one.
No, so I don't know. Maybe that's just they don't think that they need to put money in receivers, and he'll get tagged. They'll pay him 16 million, which is average for what all the other top wide receivers are getting or in that group, and they don't have to overpay for him, and then they'll let him walk.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Number 3 on my list, another wide receiver from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chris Godwin. He's, I think, 3 years younger than Robinson. I think he's one of the younger superstar wide receivers to come out to this list. And they're saying that if they tag him again, it would be 16 million, but that comes with some consequences. If you tag him, that means you can't use your franchise tag on defensive players such as Shaquille Barrett or Levante David. What do you guys see happening with Chris Godwin?
I think Chris Godwin's going to be on the move. He's going to be wearing new colors in 2021. I'd be surprised if they keep him. Some players on the team have talked about restructuring contracts to make money for the team to be able to sign these guys. But I don't know if they necessarily need him with the pieces they got around Tom Brady in that offense. But I think AB is a free agent as well. So he has the potential to move on somewhere else after having a decent year with Tom Brady. I don't see him going anywhere else. I see him staying in Tampa. And I like the prospect they got up and coming in, Tyler Johnson. I think he's got good hands. He runs good routes. His mobility is great, and his speed is up there. So if they move on from Godwin, will they miss him? Yeah, they'll miss a bit of him, but I definitely think someone like Ty Johnson can fill those shoes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that he's definitely has a lot of upside on the move. I think that, T-Bay has tons of weapons. Even like a Scotty Miller could step in, on the speed side as well and kind of take a bigger role. I think that it's actually probably a good move for Godwin as well to be out there and land on another team where he is a solid number 1 wide receiver and not competing with all of these distribution of balls and things like that. And it could be a really good play for his stock in fantasy as well, like because he will be that centerpiece at another team, and he'll get a lot of the looks and a lot of the throws coming his way.
Yeah, if he gets out to the market, he's going to get a lot of interest, and he's going to get paid. Who knows? I think so many teams can use a guy like him, and Tampa Bay's kind of got a luxury right now with wide receivers. They got so much depth at the position.
Yeah.
Whereas, if it was me, I'd rather have Shaq Barrett. A guy like him is, I think, much more important than, a wide receiver in that stable of wide receivers. Just to lose one guy, I think I'd go Shaq Barrett.
Well, what they did this year is off the back of their defense. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, I mean,
100%.
yes, they have a powerful offense. No, they could put up points, but without that defense down the stretch, they wouldn't be in the Super Bowl. So you're right.
Well, Shaq Barrett came out and said that he wants to get paid like one of the top players at his position. So if they do franchise him and they're not willing to pay, it might only be a 1-year thing. Chris Godwin says he wants to stay with Tampa and he's willing to take less money, but he does still want to get paid at least up there, not as high, he said. But he also doesn't want to hurt his chances by going to a team that's not very good either and just be sitting there. So he's kind of torn from the way he sounds of where he wants to go. But we'll have to wait and see and see how it folds out. Number 4, this one's for Frank. Wide receiver Kenny Golladay. I'm hearing reports of also another potential tag and trade because Golladay doesn't want to go through a rebuild, and looks like that's kind of what the Lions are doing there. So, Frank, I'll go to you. Do you think that they're going to franchise him and bring him back long term, or what are you seeing from your boy?
I've heard a few rumblings that they're already talking of franchise tagging him, so I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I think they're going to try and keep him and work something out long term. I don't know if it'll work out. I hope it does because that wide receiver room is pretty bare right now. I think the only guy under contract right now is Quintez Cephas. Marvin's a free agent. Kenny's a free agent right now. So they got to do whatever they can to bring him in, and then they're going to have to sign somebody else if they want to be a half-decent team. I think they're going to probably end up drafting somebody 7th. I think they got 7th overall. So I think that's the way they got to go.
Vontae to the Lions? Are you calling it?
I'm thinking that I've heard things. I've heard he's one of the guys that might be targeting. Yep.
I'm hearing that the Lions have already been potentially said to have been able to, if they franchise tag Golladay, upwards of a 2nd-round pick right now.
To trade him?
Yeah. So they franchise tag him and they're already a 2nd-round pick value back. So that's an interesting thing for them too in a rebuild, right? A 2nd-round pick there could be a lot better technically if, for say, you're losing money with Galladay's contract, you're finding a younger kid, if he can produce and, develop into what you need down the years. I mean, right now, Detroit's not in that win now mode anyways, right?
No,
so Galladay's just there. Well,
listen,
when were they?
Come on, man.
No, listen, guys. Honestly, I mean, the reality is they're halfway through their 30-year rebuild, right? So I mean, they're so if they make some moves
60
now,
years, Sam. 60
it's been 60. Okay, so they're almost at the end of it. Then I mean, listen, at the end of the day, they're getting close in the next 50 years. I mean, they're playing the long game. They're playing the long game in Detroit.
Really long, yeah. That's well, we'll see what happens.
Football, yeah.
Hey. Ooh. We'll see what happens with Kenny. I mean, I think they're going to franchise him and they're going to hope to keep him, but I think they can get more if they get rid of him. And I don't think I personally think with Goff, he'll have worse numbers than he will with than what he had with Stafford. So that scares me too.
Yep.
Wow, this year's not about numbers, I don't think. This year's just
It's
get
about,
through
it's
the
about
year.
kneecaps. It's about kneecaps.
Yeah, just build it in, just have it a positive year.
He wants to win. He doesn't want to just have
Well,
a
that's
rebuild
he's not.
at this
Yeah,
point.
he's not going to win anything this year.
He's like 27 now, right?
Yeah,
So,
this is it for him. I think.
He wants to go to a team that's going to give him a chance, and Detroit's not that anymore.
They
I don't think he's
weren't
27. He's
They're
a
not
young
that.
guy.
That's it. He's realized it. It took him this many years to realize that he needs to leave.
Yeah, Frank, he's I think 27.
Is he already 27?
Yeah, I
think so,
This would be his 4th year. I'm surprised he's that old. Okay.
Well, he missed this year because of every injury in the book I think he had. So
Yeah.
At number 5, running back Aaron Jones. The reason why he came here, at first everyone thought he was probably just going to go to free agency because he was offered a contract from Green Bay, but Green Bay decided to put no guaranteed money in that contract, and so he turned it down very quickly.
They had no choice.
But now that because the cap was lowering, the tag money came out, and to tag a running back, it's only $8 million, which apparently is very nice to tag a running back for 1 year. So they're saying that they would rather tag him for 1 year and let him walk the year after than not. So it's looking like he may be tagged. Again, they may not, depending on what else they bring in or whatnot. I know they are freeing up some money. Hopefully they're bringing in maybe something like a wide receiver because I think they need that still. But what do you guys think about Aaron Jones?
I've been hearing things that he in free agency, at least he could get upwards between 11 million plus right now in the markets of what type of running backs are out there. I mean, for a guy like Aaron Jones and his skill set, I don't think that's like a crazy amount. So I can definitely see him getting paid somewhere. And I mean, do the Packers want to franchise tag him at that 8 mil? Yeah, that's a great price for an Aaron Jones. Do they see AJ Dillon and Jamal Williams was a free agent as well. Do they see AJ Dillon being the next guy there with his rookie contracts? Though I think that's a possibility as well. They see a lot in that kid, and I think he could be not as good as Aaron Jones yet, but he can definitely have a great season there if he's the main guy.
Yeah, I think they took him that early in the second round. To take a running back, they got to have plans for him. They saw these two guys coming off the books this year, so they wanted to test them out. And you saw at the end of the year, they were running AJ Dillon pretty hard just to see what he had. So I think they found the guy, and it was going to be wholesale for him. I can see Aaron Jones, ending up somewhere like Seattle. I think it'll be a good fit for him. I can see him. He kind of has that similar Marshawn Lynch kind of running game, So I think he fit pretty well there in that culture.
But can we really have any stock or any faith in the fact of where they took a player? Because, I mean, they took Love early too, and they're never going to use him until Rodgers decides to leave. So does it really show what we're talking about them and their drafting style? Like, I mean,
well, if Rodgers retires
maybe
after this year, they're going to look like geniuses.
He's not retiring this year, so
no. But I think if he retires anytime soon, and if Jordan Love becomes anything close to Aaron Rodgers, then it proves they were right. Like, people were saying that they were crazy for drafting Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre was there. So, I mean, I don't like to defend the Green Bay Packers.
I still think if they took a wide receiver, especially one of those ones that was there, pair him with Aaron Rodgers at the number 2, they go a little further than they did. Maybe win that, that championship game that they can't seem to win.
They could win one, but then if they don't,
defense was
I don't think
bad
so,
though in the NFC Championship game.
True.
I don't know if the wide receiver would have helped him there, but as for Aaron Jones, I think they'd rather pay AJ Dillon the money they're paying AJ Dillon to do the job that Aaron Jones does. Mm-hmm. And they've been tied to some of the running backs that we're going to be talking about here in these next set of rankings. So I think Aaron Jones, again, is going to be one of these guys due to the salary cap and the situation with COVID and everything else that's just going to be wearing different colors next year.
Yep, I agree.
We'll have to wait and see. So that's the top 5. There's many more out there. I'm sure we'll get into it as some of them start signing and whatnot throughout the next couple of weeks.